Welcome to Irons United and a brief review of the Hertha Berlin versus West Ham United game that was played earlier this afternoon. Our apologies, Ant and I did try to put a video out live, but we had a few technical difficulties, so I'm doing a recording instead. So I'm trying not to read too much into the actual score itself and wanting to sort of look more in the team performance than anything else. We heard before the start of the game that Fabianski was injured. Apparently, he had a bit of a groin injury, which we've heard is not too serious, thankfully, and he should be ready for the Man City game. Not the sort of thing we want to hear pre-season about injured players. So thankfully, he's not going to be too seriously injured. There were a few other players that were out. We believe that Fredericks has got a knock, Noble has got a knock, and Reed injured again. And although these are minor and although they're small injuries and there should be nothing that we really should worry about, I think it kind of leads me into my thinking about the defence. When we seem to be quite heavily reliant all of a sudden on Ben Johnson. You know, he's come out of nowhere. We saw him, we caught a glimpse of him last season and he was excellent against Man City. And now he's played in almost every pre-season friendly, and he's really shone. You know, he's played on the left side, and he's also played on the right side of defence, and he's been excellent. But the concern is we're relying on a 19-year-old player to start filling gaps, and the fact that we will pick up injuries throughout the season. You know, we've got Ogbonna, who, you know, I love Ogbonna, but he really isn't at the races. We've got Reed, who's just, you know, he's a moment away from getting injured again and again. Masuaku, I know you know, everyone's living it up because he's just signed a 4-year extension on it, 5-year extension on his contract. But I still don't rate Masuaku as a defender. Creswell just looks the shadow of the defender that we once knew. So there are all these things that slightly concern me about our defence. And I know Pellegrini wanted attack-minded players. I know he wanted to bring in more attacking players, and I get that. I understand that. You know, that's quite important. We do need attacking players, especially with so many strikers having gone from the club. But I would really have loved Pellegrini to have brought in a defender that maybe is a little bit versatile, that can play as a left back or as a centre back and left back or as a right back and left back, just that little bit extra. And people will say, yes, but we do have defensive cover. But as I've just said, Reed is a game away from being injured for God knows how many games. Ogbonna, his positioning really isn't that fantastic. Masuaku is not a left back. You know, he's a wing back at best. And Creswell's just not at the races. Fredericks also, you know, he was in and out of the team last season with injuries, and the player that we have to cover for him at the moment is Zabaleta, and I think this is a season too many for Zabaleta. He's a warhorse. You know, he's a great player to have had in the past, but I just think this might be one season too many for him. So I've got a real concern. I'm hoping we're led to believe that there's going to be more transfers happening, and I'm really hoping that something's going to happen in defence between now and the end of the transfer window. Moving into midfield, well, I mean the attack-minded side of midfield. It was great to see how Lanzini, Fornals and Anderson was switching around the pitch throughout the first half, and it was great to see. And once they're all up to speed and firing and start to understand each other's games more, I think that's going to be fantastic for us. And I'm really looking forward to the way that those three players are gonna link up together. And then of course just behind them you had Wiltshire and Rice. And it wasn't Wiltshire's best game today, but you could still see Wiltshire. I'm beaming with Wiltshire because if that guy stays injury free, he's going to be one of our best players this season. And the way he's going to be able to supply the ball to the other three players, Fornals, Lanzini, and Anderson, is going to be quite wondrous. And then of course he's there to sort of help stabilise Rice, because he can play that sort of holding midfield role alongside Rice. So that's quite exciting to see. And then Haller held the line really well today, didn't he? I mean, we really started to see Fornals in his prime. We really started to see Haller in his prime. And the way he links up with those attack-minded players is going to be really exciting for us. And then some of the players that came on later in the game, Snodgrass. I think Snodgrass knows he's going to be a bit part player, but I think he accepts that because when he does come on, he'll spend 20 minutes on the pitch, 20, 30 minutes on the pitch, and he'll be able to influence the game as he did when he came on. Antonio, it's a difficult one to work out whether Antonio is going to be back up or not. It kind of looks like he might be. I think possibly what Pellegrini will do is he'll use certain players in certain games that he thinks are going to be better. So when we need Antonio's strength, either down the right flank or through the middle, I think Antonio will play. This rumour that he's going to Crystal Palace, I just can't see that at all. Yarmolenko, still early days for him, but he came on and he was spreading the ball around, which was really good as well. And that was quite exciting to see him coming on. Dingana, who, I think has been blown hot and cold, came on and he did quite well. He scored a goal and he played quite well as well. So overall, I think when you look at, we scored 5 goals. When you look at Hertha Berlin, when we went at them, they couldn't handle us. We were doing everything that they couldn't cope with. But they did score 3 goals. They scored 3 goals, and I have to be honest, like I say, it concerns me because they're not a great team, and I know it's pre-season, and I do understand that, but they still scored 3 against us. And, City in China scored 4 against us. We lost to Newcastle. I don't want to be too dour, but it just concerns me slightly that our defence is the area that is going to be our weak link. And I'm beginning to wonder whether Pellegrini is thinking, well, they're going to score a goal against us, so we'll have to get 2. That might be his ethos, because our attack-minded prowess is looking fantastic. And once all those players really get to understand each other better, it's going to look even better. I'm looking forward to the game at the weekend against Athletic Bilbao. It'll be the first time I'm going to see West Ham this pre-season. Yeah, I didn't make it out to China. Sorry about that. Unlike some of you hardcore, and fair play to you guys. Went out to Austria today to see them against Hertha Berlin. Out in Switzerland. Went to Fulham last week. I was away in Madrid, so I couldn't go to the Fulham game. It's a fair play to the supporters. The great support all around. So for me, it's going to be my first opportunity to see them at the ground, and also it's going to be our first pre-season at home. So that's going to be exciting as well, and I'm looking forward to that. And I think, from what I can see, the lineup, maybe not against Bilbao, because Fabianski doesn't look like he's going to make that game, but Roberto seems quite amiable enough backup, and he's got enough game time in pre-season. Fredericks, I think Johnson is going to start. I think we're going to start seeing a regular Diop Balbuena formation, combination in the middle. Don't know about left side. Some may argue that Masuaku is going to be the starter because he's been given this big extension. But Creswell was captain today, so I don't know what that says. Maybe I think left back is still up for grabs, if I have to be honest. I really don't want to see Sanchez in the team or anywhere near it. I know he made a great pass for Diengana to score the goal today, but he's got a mistake in him, you know, and he's made mistakes in every pre-season game he's played, and he made another mistake today which almost led to another goal, and he worries me. I don't even think he can be on the pitch for 20 minutes, you know, so I think if Wiltshire stays fit, he's going to be a starter with Rice, and it's going to be Noble that's going to be the backup. And I know a lot of you out there are going to argue, well, Noble should start, but I think Wilshire has proven that he's a class player, and Rice is a stalwart in the team, even at his young age. So I think those are the two players that are going to be regular starters for West Ham. But again, Noble's going to come on when needed. And then the players up front, Yarmolenko, Antonio, Diangana, are going to be all great backups for the likes of, and Snodgrass, are all going to be great backups for the likes of Lanzini, Fornals, and Anderson, and fantastic midfielders we've got. And of course up front, Aller. But, you know, again, the problem is Hernandez didn't do much, and he hasn't done much as a lone striker in all the pre-seasons that he's played. And that is another concern. And again, we hear, you know, there's going to be movement in the transfer window. And what I'd like to see a defender come in, and I'd like to see another striker come in. If we could, I'd like to squeeze another holding midfielder in there as well. It might be too much to ask for, but it's looking promising. There's a lot of promising stuff to look forward to. I think we're going to be excited by our attack mindedness, and we're going to bite our nails for when we have to defend the game. Anyway, it's not been much of a Hertha Berlin review, but I've just given you my views on the players, etc. And let's see what happens on Saturday. So we'll see you all on Saturday.